Okay, everybody, you won't believe this, but I'm back again. Putting my link on here. Whoops, I gotta get it. Sorry about that. Hold on. Well, where is it when you need it? Okay. Okay. Should be in business now. See if any. Oh, Jacqueline's on. Hey, paste. Thank you for coming on and showing us one last recipe in your bundle. I downloaded today and excited. It's a great deal. Yeah. I guess I don't know when to quit, huh? Here I am, late at night, making food. Oh, Rachel. Rachel came on to see me. Hey, Rachel, how you doing? I wanted to I'm calling it midnight fried rice because, late night when you've been out doing stuff all day or you've been out drinking or whatever, depends. Like, in Asian households, you always make fried rice at the end of the day when you don't have anything else to make. So I have all this stuff from this week, from all these things that I've made. And it's all like, I've got a little bowl with some cut up shiitake mushrooms and onions that are partially cut up. I've got a bunch of different onion pieces, a piece of carrot, some shiitake mushrooms. I believe they're washed, but I might rinse them off. I have tofu left from my spring rolls I made earlier today. I have some more carrot, scallions. I have broccoli left from something I made my hot pot. I have Napa cabbage left from the hot pot. So I've got this big assortment of stuff and a good way. Oh, let me go get my rice. Sorry. Forgot the most important thing. And I have rice, but I was going to show you how to do this with frozen rice. Hi, Susan. Okay. Well, what happens if I have my knife? So this is frozen brown rice from the grocery store, organic brown rice, and I'm going to use that because I'm going to make this like something you might make at home when you're busy. And you don't know what to make for dinner, so you say, well, I got a bunch of stuff I need to use up. I'm in Central Time, so it's 9 o'clock here. So it's not, to me, it's not that late. I usually stay up until about 11. And I have to say that I really feel good today. I felt more tired a couple of days ago than I feel today. I don't know what's going on, but I actually don't really feel all that tired. I'm surprised because if you knew the schedule I've been keeping, I've been waking up really early. I've been, tired at night. I've been running around all day doing all the stuff for the bundle. It's been kind of hectic. So the other day I was really kind of tired. I was like exhausted by 6 o'clock at night, but tonight I feel really good. Okay, so I'm going to get some of this in the pan. This is some onions, shiitake mushrooms and onions. And I have some more of this scraps of onions. So fried rice, as long as the scraps are good and they're not too old, like these are all fresh from a couple days ago. I was using this in a recipe and I just stuck it in this bowl that was like partially cut up onions. So why not use them? Because there's nothing wrong with them. They're good onions. So I'm going to use those and get those in the pan. And, my fried rice recipe, sorry, it's like a template. You don't really have to have a recipe for fried rice. Jacqueline says, it's all the great food you've been making. Yeah, maybe that's it, because I really haven't eaten a lot of meals today. I started out the day, I'm trying to think. I made the waffle this morning, and so I didn't really eat. Oh, Stacy said I bought the bundle. Thank you, Stacy. I didn't really eat much of the waffle because, don't tell anybody, I didn't like it that much. That's probably, don't remember what it came from, so you won't say anything. But anyway, I didn't really eat that much of that waffle. Kathy says I was watching the Rachel Detroit coaching and saw Tammy and Tom doing a spoof on the Oscars. Um, but yeah, congratulations to you and Rachel's watching. Kathy, I see her. She popped up a minute ago, so you can congratulate Rachel. She's on here right now. Well, she was. I don't know if she's still on, but yeah, I saw that. That was really cute. They did like the Kale Awards, and they had. She actually got nominated in two categories. She got nominated in desserts and ethnic. I saw her Lebanese book. So, Rachel, she's my buddy, but I kind of consider her like a protege, if you want to use that word. Like, when I first met her, she wasn't doing any of this stuff, and I was her encourager. So I just tried to encourage her along the way, and I still do my best to encourage her because, I want the people that are up and coming in this world to feel welcomed and positive about the rest of us. People that have already been out here, I want the people that are just coming on board to feel positive. Hi to the Sky Warrior. So I have some shiitake mushrooms that I had left over from a couple of days ago doing my hot pot on Kathy Hester. And I've got some of the pieces are a little big, so I'm taking them out and cutting them up better. And then I'm going to put some garlic in here. And this is just I'm calling it midnight fried rice just to be funny, but because it's so late that I'm making fried rice at this hour. Rachel is one of the freshest, honest, positive people I've seen in a long time. Yeah, that's why I like her. She's real and she's very nice. Rachel, are you still watching? If not, I'll tell her to come back and read the comments. Yeah, she lives in Detroit. I live in Texas. I'm twice her age. She's the age of one of my kids. And, I could be her grandmother, I guess. No, her mother, not her grandmother. Although I have a granddaughter who's 24, going to be 24 this year. So I'm old enough to be a great grandmother. I'm not yet, but my oldest granddaughter is going on 24. So yeah, I have children that are 40. My daughter's going to be 47 this year, my oldest. So, I don't think about all this age stuff. I just do what I do and stay healthy. But I tell you, this lifestyle, this plant-based lifestyle will keep you young better than anything I know of. Okay, so the thing that people do wrong in making fried rice sometimes is they put too much stuff in their pan. So I want you to see there's not that much stuff in here. There's just little bits and pieces of mushrooms and onions and garlic, 2 garlic cloves. And now I'm putting in just 1 small carrot because you don't want your rice to just be so overpowered by a bunch of mushy vegetables. Fried rice is not the way to eat a bunch of vegetables. Fried rice is the way to eat fried rice with a small amount of vegetables and some tofu or edamame or something that, could add beans protein to it, so edamame's got soybean kind of a thing. So, this is not the time to put every vegetable in the world in your rice. It's not necessary. I've got some water here. My drinking water. It's getting late. I'll use whatever I have. I'll drink it and then I'll use it to cook with. I'm going to cover it for a couple minutes. Thank you for doing all these lives. I'm not tired. It's funny. It's like I was just saying. I was telling my husband, I said, I actually feel good. I don't feel like, I need to sit down. I don't feel bad. I have a jalapeno. I think I'll put a couple pieces of this jalapeno pepper in there because I like it. And I have to attribute how good I feel to my lifestyle because I didn't eat a lot today. I didn't eat much breakfast. I had a couple pieces of rice paper bacon And then the next thing I ate today was, uh, I don't even know. I was so busy. Oh, I had some pad thai. So I was making pad thai, and I had like just a few bites of it. I didn't even have that much. Here's a zucchini. I bought zucchini and didn't use it, so I'm going to see, I'm just putting a small piece of the zucchini in here because I don't want to put too much of any vegetable in here because then it's overpowering. And I'm cutting it kind of small. So when you make your fried rice, cut your vegetables really small. And then, like, we can make our own stock with all these vegetable scraps. And that was something that James Sant was talking about when he was doing I was doing a live with him. And he makes a zone broth, he calls it, using a bunch of veggie scraps. And he saves them up and then puts them in the Instant Pot. And, I need to do that more often. I know how to make stock. And I was watching him thinking, he does it all the time. I don't do it consistently. So, I learned stuff from people in the bundle. See how I cut these into tiny little squares? Everything is cut in these tiny little squares because I don't want great big chunks of anything in my rice. So that's the way I like to do it. And I put the lid on because I want to cook these onions down. And that's a good way to get some cooking going on faster, is to put the lid on your pan. And I don't use a lot of water because I want it to, develop flavor. And if you put too much water in, it just kind of waters down the food and steams it. I have a bunch of Napa cabbage, but I only want to use a little bit of it, and I only want to use the green leafy parts. Now, I can save all of this for stock, all these extra pieces that I'm not using, or I could just use it for something else later in the week. But like these are good for stock, these big pieces, because those are not the kind of pieces you usually put in your food. And again, I'm going to cut the cabbage kind of small. But this is the cruciferous vegetable part, because like the Daily Dozen, we're trying to eat all of our vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, kale, all those kind of things, broccoli. We're even going to put some broccoli in here. So see, what we're getting is we're getting all these vegetables in the family that we want. We want the kale family, and then we have broccoli. I had broccoli from my hot pot. And this broccoli is not the best looking broccoli, so I'm only going to pick the pieces that I think look really good. Some of them kind of have that, it's not really yellow, but it's not the brightest green that I like. So I'm not going to use those pieces. And let's see. Okay, I don't see any new comments. If you have any questions about anything, put it in there. Comments. Something that you're going to do tomorrow that sounds like fun. I'm going to rest a lot. I'm going to sit down and not do a lot. I'm not putting a lot of broccoli in here because I put cabbage in here. And too much of any class of vegetables in here is just going to be too much. So I'm going to put a little more water in it. And I'm going to cover it for a couple minutes while I cut up some other stuff. So you see what I did? I put carrots, onions, garlic, broccoli, cabbage, zucchini, jalapeno, and I think that was it. Shiitake mushrooms. So I have a lot of vegetables in my fried rice mixture. Now I'm going to make a sauce. So that's the thing that's special about mine, is I make a sauce that has a little kind of a flavor to it. And people who eat my fried rice, they like it. They think, oh, it has a really good flavor. So I put about a tablespoon of tahini in my bowl. And I like this kind of Roots classic tahini. It's very creamy and pourable. And you don't really need very much. A little goes a long way. And then I put in about a tablespoon of soy sauce. I guess I could measure it so you could see that I'm actually putting in what I say I'm putting in. Tablespoon. And that's not a lot for this amount of food, because this could be 3 good sized servings of this fried rice. And then it calls for a teaspoon of miso, white miso. So So I'm going to just kind of guess that's about a teaspoon, I can tell. Miso has a lot of sodium, so you don't really need to use a lot. And this is a Japanese miso. It says 1 tablespoon has 860 milligrams of sodium, so a teaspoon is a third of that. That's not too terrible. I've seen some brands that have a lot more than that. Some red chili flakes, or we could put sriracha in there. I'm going to put red chili flakes. Going to make nori rolls and spring rolls tomorrow, inspired by you. That's from Rims. Good, great. That's wonderful. And sesame seeds. We can put a teaspoon of sesame seeds in here. And then we can also sprinkle some. I'm putting the toppings over here. So everything back here is the toppings. And then we'll just mix up our sauce and we'll have it ready to go. It looks a little thick. Do you have a recipe for edamame pods that be served as an appetizer? Yeah, the only way to serve them our way, meaning whole food, plant-based, no oil. I'm going to put some water in this to make it easier to pour into my fried rice. So add a little water to your sauce to make it easier to get out of your bowl. See, so it's more of this texture. See what a nice color that is? That's from the miso and the tahini. Okay, now look at how great the vegetables look. This was from covering them with the lid. Now you can tell that they're cooked. You see, they still have color, but they're not hard. And that's what I want. I don't want them to be hard vegetables, but I don't want them to be soft. But I'm going to put this rice in. This is 2 cups of rice. You can get this in the freezer section of most grocery stores. Have organic brown rice. Trader Joe's, common grocery stores have that now. And you just defrost it in the microwave or however you defrost stuff. And then I'm going to mix it in there. And it looks so good. It's just pure, delicious food, just vegetables and rice. And at this point, let's say that you were just really not eating much of any kind of sauce and you were trying to cut way back on sauces. You know, you could just lightly drizzle a tiny bit of coconut aminos or soy sauce on it, very little, and it would taste great. You don't have to add a sauce. In fact, a lot of times my taste buds nowadays are, you know, you share with us many healthy ingredients I've not heard of to put in my pantry and make for healthier dishes. Great, Jacqueline. Will you repeat the brand of tahini you used? Okay. It's called Roots Classic Tahini. And it's on Amazon. It's a newer one. They stopped having Mighty Sesame Tahini for some reason. So I want to get back to the question about edamame. With the edamame, the best thing to do is to just get edamame from Costco or somewhere where it's in the pods and it comes in individual packets so that you don't have to cook all of it at once. And then what you do with that is you can heat it in the microwave. If you don't like microwave, I think you can also put it in boiling water. But, you know, like normally at the Japanese, what we do is we just get the frozen edamame in a bag and we put it in boiling water. Don't overcook it. And then we just put it in a bowl. You know, you don't have to do anything to it. It's supposed to be served with just a tiny pinch of sea salt. You know, edamame is not supposed to be fried in oil. And when restaurants started making edamame appetizers and they started frying it up in oil and then putting salt all over it, and oil and salt and hot peppers and all this stuff on it, and then people loved it. They're like, oh, this edamame is so good. And it's just dripping in grease. Well, you know, true edamame is not supposed to be dripping in grease. It's just supposed to be a healthy soybean. And the pure form, the pure taste of the soybean is the good part about it. So I don't understand, you know, why people have to have oil on their edamame. The way I grew up eating it is my mother would boil it. She would rinse it in cold water so that it wouldn't be hot. She would sprinkle sea salt on it, and I thought it was delicious that way. And in fact, a lot of Japanese restaurants, that's how they do it. Okay, I'm gonna put the sauce in. So yeah, just get plain old edamame. Mary says, you're amazing. I have, I have what? Popped on several times today. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I've been doing this several times today. So I have the sauce in here now. Evelina says, good evening, everyone. Going to watch you on my TV. Oh my gosh, no way to chat there. Drop by to say, wow, Julia, you've been cooking all day. You go, girl. All right, thank you. You know, people are still buying the bundle. It's still going on here until 2 in the morning because that's midnight Pacific time is 2 in the morning for us. I told my husband, I said, I have to stay up until 2 in the morning to make sure that, I'm awake to see what happens. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. Okay, so I put the sauce in, and now I want to make sure I get it heated all the way through. And then you can see how it's looking. I have a fork here. I know it's going to taste good because I make this all the time. Mm, mm, yum. That is so good. And then you can add more spice to it. You can add less sauce to it. I think that amount of sauce is so good. I can taste the miso and the tahini, and it's a good flavor. It's really good. I love it. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they told me that they made my fried rice. I'm going to turn it off now because it's hot all the way through. They said they made my fried rice the other day, and they had never made a fried rice with a sauce before, and they love the sauce. So, and if you don't like soy sauce, let's say you're cutting back on soy sauce, you can omit the soy sauce and just put just a teaspoon of miso and some water, and a little hot chili flakes or something. And then if you don't want to use tahini, because is kind of a fatty thing, that's a good idea. Back to basics for edamame. Yes. Um, Edamame is supposed to be enjoyed in its pure form, and you can grow it. I grew it last year. I had a lot of it in my garden. It's not that hard to grow, and it's so good to go out to your garden and pick. When edamame is ready, it grows in big stalks, and they cut the whole stalk off when it's ready, and they bring it in Japan in the grocery stores, and then you pull all the edamame pods off this big, like a wooden stalk. It's kind of weird. Okay, so our rice is ready. And then we have to decide what we're going to put as a topping. So first of all, we'll plate it up. See, that didn't take long at all. It's 9:24. I just came on at 9, and I made this enormous skillet full of fried rice in that amount of time. Of course, I had a lot of the stuff already. I had the rice already cooked. Okay, so this is a big pile of food, which is fine because we want a generous serving. Remember, it has a lot of vegetables. So we have that. We have scallions, lots of scallions. And then what we can also put on here is I have some rice paper bacon. Evelina says, I love fried rice. I have to make my own. I don't like how they make it stateside. I like the idea of miso in it. Well, good night. Rest well tomorrow. Thank you. I will. So I'm going to put some of my crispy rice paper bacon on my rice because that gives it a nice little crunch. I have plenty of this around. I keep it in the freezer. So that's how I use it as a condiment. I'll put it on stuff like fried rice. It's so good. It has a nice crunch to it. I can also put some furikake, which is those Japanese sesame sprinkles with seaweed. I love that on my food. I could also put sesame seeds, but I won't because I have that. We could eat this with some kimchi. I love kimchi. You may not, but that's always a good side condiment to eat with fried rice. It's fermented, so it's healthy for your probiotic health and for your gut. So it's good to keep some kimchi around, and this is vegan kimchi. So I keep some around. And then, if you're like my husband, what he'll do is he'll get soy sauce. I don't do this, but he'll put soy sauce all over his rice. I'm over that. I don't have to do that anymore. But there it is. There's my midnight fried rice. Oh, Kathy said I have had paella, and I think it's the crusty rice I like so much. Can the fried rice, which sounds like I could get crusty, could like it could get crusty, ever get crusty? Yeah. If you cook it, it kind of can develop a little crust. But remember, paella crust is developed because there's oil in the pan. And without that, because they put lots of oil when they cook paella, without the oil, you will not develop that kind of crust because that comes from, the combination of the oil and the food kind of cooking together. You cannot really get that kind of crust in an oil-free type of cooking. It just doesn't happen very easily. But this will taste really good. Mm. There's so many different vegetables, but because they're in small pieces, you're not getting like a giant bite of any one vegetable. They're small. So, you can easily eat them. They're not overcooked, they're not undercooked. And then that little bit of tofu, Lydia says it looks great. That marinated tofu that was in the spring rolls is really nice. Hmm. It's like a little baked tofu bite, which tastes great. And then you can get a bite of the kimchi. And then the other thing that I like to do, I don't have any in here, but I would take seaweed and have some little squares of seaweed and maybe, put some on my rice. That's what we did growing up is we put seaweed on stuff, weird stuff. So there you go. This is midnight fried rice. And it really is a fried rice in my ebook. It looks just like it. Very similar. It's got the broccoli, the carrots, the onions, the garlic. And the way I make fried rice anytime is I just save up little bits of pieces of vegetables and then I just start cooking them in the skillet. And I have my own rice I've made in the freezer. Usually that's what I have. If not, I can get that fried rice. Could you put bean sprouts? Yeah, I have those bean sprouts from the I used them earlier today in the pad thai. So yeah, I thought about putting those in there, but since I had them already today, I thought, no, I don't want bean sprouts again. But yeah, you could put them in there at the end. Just put them in to lightly cook them. But yeah, so I start with these little vegetables cut up small, garlic. You could put ginger in, not much, just a little. And then add the rice, add the tofu, and then make your sauce if you want to. But remember, the longer you eat this way, the more plain vegetables without sauce taste good to you. Because I noticed recently that I made this and didn't put any sauce in it at all. And I just ate it with like a real tiny drizzle of low sodium soy sauce. And I could taste every vegetable. I could taste the tofu and the rice and the garlic and the ginger and whatever I put in there. And it had almost no salt in it at all. And it tasted great to me. But, my taste buds have changed over time. So like when people are starting out, things that are salty taste better. People tend to want to have more salt in their food in the beginning because that's what they're used to. So a stronger sauce is something that people like. And if you're still eating the standard American diet, like my husband, he eats mostly regular American food. He doesn't eat all my food. Sometimes he does, but he eats other food too. So he had the pad thai for dinner that I made earlier today. And I asked him, he was heating it up and he was eating it. And I said, well, how is it? And he said, well, it didn't taste like anything. Like it didn't have any taste at all. He said, so I had to add soy sauce to it. And, so that's what he does because his palate is used to having a lot stronger flavors like fried food and heavily salted food. So, he put a lot of soy sauce on his, but I thought it had a lot of flavor by itself. Let's see. Lydia says, "I love the way you're organized when you cook." Thank you. That's a thing they teach us in culinary school. is, that you have all your ingredients close by. And then I teach a lot of classes, so I put all my ingredients on trays and have them close by. And so, that makes it go a lot faster if you're organized. But yeah, somebody else said, "Oh, do I have a vegan kimchi?" Kimchi is one of those things that it's a lot of work to make. It requires a lot of time and effort to make it taste good. So it's not something I've made a lot of, but I tell you what, I am going to make my next ebook is going to be Asian, and it's going to have Korean, something Korean in it. And I may really work on making a kimchi because I really like this vegan kimchi by Scotty, and it's in the store. It's called Scotty's Fermented Foods, and it's in Whole Foods and all over. It has no preservatives, no pasteurization, no animal products, and it's so pure, but it only has Napa cabbage, daikon radish, onion, carrot, red pepper flakes, sea salt, green onion, garlic, and ginger. That's it. So if Scotty can make this, I can too. So I'll work on that. But, I don't eat a ton of kimchi, so I don't know that I want to have a lot around, but I'd like to make a good one. So yeah, I'll work on that. I can make it. I have pickled ginger in this ebook, and it turned out really good. That pickled ginger was great, and it didn't have any dyes or weird stuff in it like the kind you get in the store. So yeah, I made the pickled ginger. So yeah, I'll work. I'll put that down on my list of stuff for my Asian cookbook. So do you have any other requests for Asian food for my next cookbook? It's going to be Thai, Korean, Vietnamese. I'll put some Japanese recipes in if I have any new ones. I'm still drinking my green tea. It's decaf and water. My head's all shiny. It's the bright light. It's kind of hot behind the bright lights. And okay, so this is the last live I'm doing today. I think, it's late enough. I'm going to clean up all my mess, and then I've got to make a couple of posts and send one last email so that people who may have missed the million things. Mochi, okay. So mochi, what do you mean by mochi? Because there's two kinds of mochi. There's mochi rice cakes that are savory, where you pound rice with a machine or by hand, and you turn it into these hard little rice cakes. And then you eat them, you broil them under a broiler and then wrap them in seaweed. That's mochi. But then there's sweet mochi, which is made with rice flour. Thai papaya salad. Okay. Yeah, I've actually made that or had that. Let me write this down. Mochi Thai papaya salad. Karen says downloaded from your link. Great. Okay. Mochi. Cindy, I need to know what kind of mochi. Let's see. Kimchi. Julia deserves the Oscar Best Demonstration Promoting in the Bundle. Oh, thanks, Artie. Thai papaya salad. Yeah, a lot of people have been doing demos, but I don't think anybody cooks as much. Like on camera, like just gets stuff out and cooks it. I noticed that they're like very methodical. They've made a bunch of stuff, but they're kind of assembling it on camera. I cook it. Sweet mochi, okay. Hot and sour soup. Sweet mochi. Oh yeah, I can have a Chinese section. Hot and sour soup is Chinese. Hot and sour soup. Yeah, I know how to make sweet mochi, Cindy. I've made it before for the Japanese Society. You take rice flour and mix it with water, and then you can put it in the microwave, and then it becomes this like a clay, almost like Play-Doh, and then you can fill it with red beans and form it into balls. I've made that before. I've taught people how to make that for the Japanese Society. A vegan hot and sour soup. Yeah, I can make that. Okay. Well, if you think of anything else, you know how to get a hold of me. You can put a post. Oh, Penny says a vegan hot and sour soup would be great. Yeah. You can post it in the support group. And we start a 21-day challenge tomorrow. Tom Yum soup. Look forward to your recipe book. I have made a tom yum soup before and it wasn't that hard. Okay. Yeah, so I'm excited. Dim sum. Okay, well, my dim sum so far was gyoza. So dim sum is when you go to a Chinese restaurant and they bring you around a big assortment of different kinds of dumplings. And, there's all different shapes and fillings. And the one that I make, my standard one, is the mushroom vegetable filling in a pot sticker. And I have not experimented with a lot of other types, but I have taken some classes. Could you use that same mochi with a nice cream inside? I'm not sure about the mochi with nice cream. I'll have to look at that. Where do we get information on your 21-day challenge? Kathy, you have to join my support group. It's called Chef Julia Support Group. It's on Facebook. And you request to join and be sure and write something about why that you want to know more about the 21-day challenge or whatever. And then I'll add you. And then what the 21-day challenge information, I posted it earlier today, and it's basically what we do. Red bean paste buns. Okay, I've had those. Red bean paste buns. And then I ask everybody just to go on the Daily Dozen, follow the Daily Dozen from Dr. Greger, read the book How Not to Die, and do that for 21 days and try to stick to it 100% if you can. You can, but just have to do it. And then, post stuff on the group, like what did you eat? Or if you went out to a restaurant, what experience did you have to try to stick with it? And questions about recipes or just, I just post stuff. And then what I do is I post what I eat every day on the support group. So every day I take pictures of my food and then I post like a collage. Thank you, and I hope you get to rest well. Enjoy your trip to California. Yeah, next week. Oh, thank goodness. Not this week, but next week. California. I can't wait. I'm not going to do any work that week. I guarantee you. Well, maybe a little, but not much. So, yeah, that's the 21-day challenge. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. Just come on the group and follow along with us. And I post what I eat every day. I'll post recipes sometime or reels about what I'm cooking or whatever. It's just my goal in the support group is always I'm trying to be a good example to you. Thanks for sharing your delicious recipes. When will you find out tonight how many bundles were bought through your link? Yes, that's what I've been watching because I get every time somebody buys a bundle, they notify me, so I know how many I'm selling, and it's a lot. It's pretty cool. So, it's kind of like you know winning the lottery or something. You look and go, "Ooh, this is great." So it's kind of exciting too. But yeah, anyway, the 21-day challenge. My goal is for free. I help you get compliant with Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen, lose weight, improve your health, whatever it is you want to do by sharing with you what I do every day so you can see how a real person lives this lifestyle. That's basically what I do. Okay, Cheryl says, thanks for sharing your delicious recipe. Oh, I saw that. Okay, so I hope that you make some of my food and maybe I'll eat a little bit of this because I haven't really eaten much tonight other than the delicious nori spring rolls. I scarfed down a few of those. I was one of them at the beginning. Okay, Petty, great. One of the people that followed the Daily Dozen. Yeah, I recognize everybody's names because I see you posting on the support group. So, and then from the support group, for a while I was doing coaching. I was coaching people that found me on my business page or support group, but I quit doing that because it was it was interfering with my freedom. So basically, I like to be able to go places all the time and not think about a schedule. Because remember, I worked for many years in doing a really highly responsible job where I had a schedule. I was very intense, and I was very hardworking. Bought your bundle. Thank you, Penny. So I was one of those people that I didn't smile much. People thought I was mad all the time because I had this very, serious look because I had important work to do. And, I was not very relaxed. So once I retired and started doing this chef business, I wanted to do something that felt more like fun and not work. So when I start seeing a schedule full of stuff to do, then it's kind of like, oh, I've got a schedule and I've got to meet with people and do stuff. Let's see, I made your sesame dressing sauce yesterday and poured it over the Costco stir fry veggies in a nonstick pan. Well, Liz, that sounds good. Great. Which sesame dressing? The one in the Japanese ebook? Because I know there's one in there. There's a sesame dressing and a peanut dressing. So anyway, I don't really like coaching people because it's time consuming and it ties me down. So I don't really like that. And then I do the retreats and people come to my house and then I spend 8 hours with them and teach them stuff and then they leave. And I like that better because it's one day and I only do it like I've got one in June. I don't have another one scheduled until next year because they're doing road construction here. So Liz said it was so good. We ate it over brown rice and there were no leftovers. Great. See, having a good sauce like our stir fry sauce, our fried rice sauce, stir fry sauce, dressings, I think that stuff like that to me helps me stick with this way of eating because then things taste really good. And I like my food to taste really good. What is the name of the Facebook page for the challenge? It's called Chef Julia Support Group. Okay, Chef Julia Support Group. And if you search for it and then it'll say, request to join the group, then you can just put in a request, but be sure and answer the questions where it says, why do you want to join the group? Because if you don't answer that question, then I always automatically, deny because you're supposed to answer the question. So yeah, I hope to see you guys in the group. I think there's probably 8,000 people in it now. And for whatever reason, I've been really lucky that my group is really a bunch of nice people. So the people in the group are friendly. There's very little, I don't know what to call it, negativity. If people start getting negative, I immediately delete them and block them. If they say anything inappropriate, then they're out. Or if they share stuff that has nothing to do with the group, like they're advertising some supplement or something. No, I delete them. So I try to keep it really safe, clean, and positive. And I never say anything negative to people. Like if you post on there, oh, I just ate a bag of cookies and, I went out and ate at a steakhouse or something. I never say anything bad about that. I'll just say, well, start again tomorrow and don't be hard on yourself and just learn from it and do the best you can. So I never say anything to hurt anybody's feelings because we get enough of that in society. We don't need it in a support group. And I hate it when you go in a support group, like sometimes forks over knives can be kind of mean and you say something and people take it wrong. Like one time I said something about I made a gourmet meal and my husband didn't eat it and he doesn't eat plants, and it's frustrating sometimes because I think of all the people that would like to eat my food, and I was just making a comment. It wasn't even that I wasn't upset. And all these people started making these really kind of snipey responses about, I don't remember what they said, but it was very irritating. And so I learned from that never to say anything controversial on there because people will attack you. So when I saw that, I decided that I didn't want anybody to feel attacked on my support group. So I monitor it very closely. And if I see anybody being the least bit critical or preachy or, like, oh, didn't you know that had oil in it and we're not supposed to have oil? I wouldn't point it out like that. I would probably say something a lot nicer. Like I'll say, um, can, excuse me, I'll say, can you show us the label so we could see what's in it? Excuse me. And if they show the label, then we could say, oh, yeah, look, there's oil. Okay, this is my sign to say goodnight. So instead of coughing around you, I'm going to sign off, clean up my kitchen, and I'll see you all in the next few days sometime, and maybe a week before I come back on, but I will come back on and do some more of these lives. Thanks, everybody, and thanks if you bought the bundle. I really appreciate it. Bye, everybody.